How's it going, Yankee fans? Welcome back to Fireside Yankees with Alex and Ryan. Now, spring training is coming to an end pretty quickly here. We're seeing the roster trimming out and obviously some big decisions being made. We hear Cody Bellinger is going to be hitting third in the lineup, but really interesting. One that we did not see coming going into spring training. We thought maybe Jason Dominguez, maybe Jazz Chisholm would be leading off to start the year. It's Austin Wells, and they're having a little bit of a platoon there. They think Paul Goldschmidt will factor in against left-handed pitching, which he's never done. He's never led off before, but Wells, he hasn't either. And I think this is an opportunity for the Yankees to kind of restructure how they approach this, right? It's not like they want to force a square peg into a round hole. They want to maximize the splits. They want to maximize what specific players do well. And, well, Austin Wells walks a lot, and he doesn't chase a lot, and he hits for pretty solid power. He's going to get on base. And that's exactly what you want for guys like Aaron Judge and guys like Cody Bellinger right behind him. You want them to bat him in. So we're going to talk about Wells, what the stats say, why this makes a lot of sense, why we're really excited about this decision, because we didn't see this one coming going into spring, but now it makes a lot more sense. Before we dive into it, Ryan, how do you do today, my friend?
I'm doing great, and I think yesterday was another really encouraging day for that strategy, because the reason that I think the Austin Wells leadoff strategy against right-handed pitchers work is because Austin Wells balances both being a smart hitter. He's not going to swing at pitches out of the zone very often. You mentioned that at the top of the show, but he's also someone who is aggressive in zone. When he sees a pitch he can handle, he is not afraid to swing. I think that level of swing decision-making is something that people don't value enough. They only look at the chase percentage, and they don't look at, all right, well, when you get a pitch to hit, what do you do with it? I think it's a bad swing decision when you let a fastball over the plate that you can handle just go by you. Even in like 3-0 counts, like if Aaron Judge gets a fastball down the middle, Alex, I want to see that pitch I want Aaron Judge to offer at that pitch. There are circumstances, obviously, where I don't want that to happen, but when certain hitters get a pitch to hit, you want them to take advantage. And Austin Wells strikes me as someone who is going to do that. This has been a very encouraging spring training for Austin Wells. His bat speed is up by a considerable margin. He is not the only Yankee to have his bat speed up. We talked about Ben Rice and his exit velocity gains. Well, guess who hit the hardest hit ball of his pro career yesterday when he hit a 114.4 mile per hour home run? That was Austin Wells. So, Alex, I think that, yes, as you said, this strategy was not something that you or I kind of had on the docket or thought the Yankees would go to, but I've quickly fallen in love with the idea. And to kind of speak on Goldschmidt a little bit, I think it makes sense because last year, a 366 OBP, he had I believe, 19.6% strikeout rate against left-handed pitching and a 9.6% walk rate. So not striking out a lot, not walking or walking above the major league average against them. And of course, he crushes the baseball. So this kind of platoon idea, like Aaron Boone's going to have to get creative with his lineup. You and I have talked about that on this show, and we're seeing it early. We're seeing it often. I'm dying a little bit, but Austin Wells is bringing me back to life, folks, because he's having the kind of spring training that I think you and I were secretly hoping he'd have. Are results everything in spring? No. I don't want to get all caught up in what his OPS is against guys who may not make the major league roster, but he had a home run off of Tyler Holton. That's a great left-handed reliever, and he went the other way with it. That's encouraging. Those are things where you're like, bake that, put that in your memory, Austin Wells, and let's hope that that's something he can carry into the regular season, because again, he's hitting the piss out of the ball right now.
He absolutely is, and that swing, he's catching up to the fastballs, and he's taking advantage of the breaking balls. Like, this is a guy that he looks different in a way. I know you posted something this morning about his leg kick that he kind of eliminated. That's generated, I guess, more control over his swing, more balance in his swing, allowed him to catch up to some of these pitches. I feel like this is going to be one of those young players, and we talked about it yesterday. The Yankees have, one of the weaker farm systems in league right now because half of them have graduated to the majors, and Austin Wells being one of those key components, and it allowed them, by the way, to trade Agustin Ramirez for Jazz Chisholm. It allowed them to be a little bit more proactive in leveraging how strong their catcher room was. Looking at Jose Trevino, you traded him for a bullpen arm, and you feel confident now in JC Escarra, who looks fantastic. And as a backup, you don't find backups to that type of bat very often, let alone one of the best receiving guys in the minors, and he's already showing and putting that on display this spring training. So, looking at what the Yankees have done at catcher, they are one of the best in the game at developing these guys, and it's clearly showing its face right now. Wells, offensively, that's what he was known for at the minor league level. He wasn't known for his defense. He turned into a top 10 defensive catcher in the game as a rookie, and now you're looking at him as possibly a well above average offensive threat too, who's not only getting on base at a really substantial clip, but he's hitting for power. Ryan, when you look at his numbers, what would be a good home run total for him this year? I mean, leading off, the assumption is he will see more strikes, and that's the idea. He doesn't chase a lot of balls outside of the zone, and balls in the zone, he's hammering. So I think it's safe to say he might hit a little bit more home runs than you think this year because he's seeing so many strikes leading off.
Yeah, I think that if Austin Wells plays 120 games this year, that we could see 20 home runs. Now, that number's not going to sound super impressive because just catchers don't play as much as other position players. You have to make and rest, but it'll be interesting to see how often the Yankees DH Austin Wells, because I'm not sure the Yankees DH'd Austin Wells once last year. I can double check right now, but they did not really go to that strategy, and I get why. Like, you had Stanton for most of the year. He didn't get hot until after Stanton came back from the IL, basically. I'm just double checking now. How many games did he play at DH? I don't think he got a single start anywhere other than catcher. He may have played as a DH, like in some games, like a pinch hitter, but I don't think he started. He did not start a single game as a DH. So, Alex, that would be new. And the first time he did play as a DH, he came into pinch hit, and it was the last game of the regular season. So I would expect either A, for him to DH more with Stanton gone. I mean, that just kind of makes sense, especially because you have, as you mentioned, a Scar who can catch. Or B, maybe he doesn't DH at all. Maybe he just catches more. That'd be a little stunning to see. Like, the Yankees really push the inning count, especially when you have a really good defender behind him, and you can sit Paul Goldschmidt against right-handed pitching every now and then. And it looks like Aaron Boone's way to be a little crazy with the lineup. So let's get really crazy. Let's get freaky with the lineup. Like, I've talked about this time and time again. Let's get wild, folks. Let's see, like, JC Escarra, Ben Rice, Austin Wells alignments. Throw three of your catchers out there. Let's get crazy, especially against right-handed pitching. That's where these guys make their money, so why not throw the ball out there? Against lefties, you have Goldschmidt in there. Not saying I want Goldschmidt to never face a right-handed pitcher, but if you're going to give Goldschmidt a day off, it would make sense to make that happen against right-handed pitching, and it seems like Boone pays attention to these things. And I love that about Boone. I love that Boone is evolving and kind of getting smarter as a manager and seeming to get more creative and a little more comfortable in his job. I think sometimes you look at Aaron Boone and not to say that he manages to keep his job. I think that's kind of a conundrum. Like, if you manage to keep your job, you're managing by doing things that people would agree with. So is it bad managing? No. But I kind of like that he's taking risks. I kind of like that he's like, hey, like, if you asked you or myself, Alex, I think would have kept the one stagnant leadoff hitter. I think we'd be like, it'd be a little. The Yankees don't do that kind of stuff. They don't platoon or whatever. They'll keep it to one. They'll be normal about this. No, they're gonna be weird about this. I love it. I love every second of that. And then again, pertaining back to Austin Wells, the ability to hit for power. A lot of guys in spring training for the Yankees have hit the ball harder, and I just keep pointing that out because it is a really, really important development. It is a really, really big development. It is something that will matter. It is something that, if executed properly, could lead to a lot of these young guys becoming like star caliber players. Austin Wells was fourth among catchers in WAR last year. You kind of alluded to him being a top 10 catcher. I had him at sixth going into the season. Imagine if Austin Wells is like the second best catcher, the third best catcher in baseball, and he puts up a 4 WAR season, has a 120 WR or 115 WRC plus, and hits 20 home runs. That's a huge win, guys. That's a non-premier first-round pick. Like, he was picked in the back end of the first round. Not like a consensus top 50 prospect. He was a top 100 guy, but even some outlets disagree with that. He wasn't supposed to be a catcher, and then he ends up being like a top 3 catcher. Like, that'd be sick. For Volpe, I know Volpe is someone who has not had a great spring in terms of results, but I've been really encouraged by how hard he's hitting the ball. Let's say he has a 100 WRC plus. Like, suddenly we're talking about a stud. Ben Rice. What if Ben Rice's exit velocity gains, which, spoiler alert, guys, Ben Rice set a new max exit velocity yesterday. I feel like we're talking about the new one every week. And every week it's like, yeah, Ben Rice hit a ball harder than he's ever hit in his career. Again and again and again. This is actually a funny piece of data I pulled. Ben Rice has more batted balls hit above his previous career high going into 2025. His hardest hit ball was 110.8 miles per hour. He has 6 batted balls above that. So 6 hardest batted balls have come in spring training. He has 6 batted balls below 90 miles per hour this spring training. So Ben Rice this spring is just as likely to hit a ball harder than he's ever hit in his pro career. That he's just as likely to do that as he has been to hit a ball below 90 miles an hour. That's ridiculous. That doesn't make any sense. That's stupid. That's freakish. That's like he is doing things that are incredible. Both he and Wells have experienced a 3 mile per hour improvement in their bat speed too. So I think it's going to help against fastballs. I thought Wells got eaten alive by fastballs towards the end of the season. And you mentioned a leg kick. I think that leg kick, I thought it was good that it was gone because he couldn't catch up to those pitches. But bro, if you're swinging the bat 75 miles an hour, like, bring that leg kick back, baby. Bring it back, baby, because that's where you generate some pop. And now he's got the hand speed, the quickness in his hands, the smoothness in his mechanics. Alex, I don't know if maybe I'm just kind of like looking for things and I'm seeing something that I like, but I personally feel like that swing that he has now is just smoother. It looks a little less. Not less choppy per se, but there's just a smoothness to it. Granted, it's going to look smooth when you're hitting a ball, hitting a freaking tank. But yeah, I mean, Alex, I've been super impressed with Wells. I think he's going to hit a lot of home runs this year. And then again, like a lot of guys have been hitting the ball a lot harder. So that's super encouraging.
Very encouraging. I mean, Ben Rice is hitting the absolute, like you said, piss out of the baseball right now. Every day he's setting a new personal record in hard hit balls. And like, Austin Wells, obviously, you mentioned, looks a lot smoother. And what I like about Rice specifically, little detour here, if you watch his load, like how he loads his actual swing, the way that he is timed up with the opposing pitcher is he's locked in. Like, he's absolutely locked in. The timing of his leg kick, everything, the whole process is so smooth and so efficient right now, and he's able to really generate a ton of power from that. This is a guy, by the way, and some people in the comments are starting to figure out, like, this is the real deal. Ben Rice was an elite hitter at every minor league level. Like, I don't think everyone recognizes just how good he was. Like, he was 30, 40, 50% better at every single minor league level. Like, there is no reason that he couldn't be an elite offensive player in the majors. There's no reason. He just has to get it going, find his rhythm, find his balance, and be confident, right? All those things together, he's going to be extremely productive. The results are going to be there. It's just a matter of when does it all come together. I think we're watching it happen in real time. I mean, you mentioned it. Both him and Wells hit the absolute crap out of the ball yesterday against a better left-handed pitcher. Both of them are left-handed batters, guys. Like, that's really, really encouraging. They're catching up the fastballs. They're taking advantage of breaking pitches. They're seeing the ball in zone. They're attacking strikes. Like, this is what the Yankees are teaching and preaching. And they have the power to maximize it, too. Like, Brett Rice, if he played every day, he could be a guy that hits 25, 30-plus homers for you. And I don't think that's even exaggerating anymore. Like, I think that's very realistic, the way he's playing right now. And he's got some athleticism to him. Like, this isn't a slow individual. He's got some speed. Like, he can run, which is underrated because the Yankees obviously want better athleticism and base runners. Ben Rice is not, I wouldn't label him slow. I'd label him, maybe he's average speed, but that's better than Stanton, that's for sure. He turns a single into a double on some occasions. So I would say this, like, this is a good situation for the Yankees to be experimenting. Stanton going down sucks. Like, it is what it is. But they have a young player with ridiculous upside in Rice ready to step in and take over that role. Ready to step in and take, that opportunity and run with it. It is rare. You don't always have pieces like that ready to take over. You know what I mean? The Yankees are fortunate enough. They had an opening, and they had the perfect player to take over that opening, right? We may get a really good season from Rice, and a consistent one that might be better than Stanton's regular seasons over the last couple years. I think he was at a 116 WRC plus, which is still solid, but for a player making $32 million a year, it's underwhelming, I'd say. And in the postseason, obviously, you get Stanton back for the playoffs, and you're like, yeah, hell yeah, like that's kind of what you want. But having a supplement there in Rice is a really good situation to have. I'm excited to see what it does during the regular season. Wells, already one of the best catchers in baseball, and he may just even be scratching the surface of his potential. Really exciting stuff happening for the Yankees. I know there's a lot of negative news with the pitching and the injuries and stuff like that, but I prefer to look at the positive sometimes, and the Yankees got some really good young talent that they've managed to blend with some veteran leadership, some veteran talent like Cody Bellinger's of the world, bringing in Max Fried and Devin Williams, Paul Goldschmidt, like bringing in some experienced players that have a pedigree of winning, or at least individually, at least. Not that the St. Louis Cardinals are a winning baseball team. And Goldschmidt obviously has been very good for a long time. I think blending all that together, it's going to be fun to watch. This Yankee team, even though the injuries have hit the rotation, they will get Luis Gil back at some point this year, and I'm pretty bullish on the offense of this team. I think it's way more balanced, but I'll let you get your last take on that, Ryan, before we wrap up.
Yeah, one thing I just wanted to note, Austin Wells last year had a 259 weighted on base average, which is like an all-encompassing offensive stat. I feel like batting average hit 163 against four-seamers at or above 95 miles an hour. Like, again, in the postseason, that kind of ate him alive. This spring training, Austin Wells hitting 500 with an 810 WOBA against four-seamers at or above 95 miles an hour. So, Velo used to kick his ass at the top of the zone. Now, if you want to sneak that, weak stuff by him, go ahead, try sneaking 97 at the top of the zone by him. We'll gladly take the leadoff home run. We'll take we'll put one on the board if you want to do that. So, I just want to throw that one out there. Again, you want to throw 95 at the top of the zone now? Again, we'll take the free home run. Austin Wells will gladly take it.
We love free home runs. We love those things, and the Yankees have built a system that's going to leverage their stadium specifically. So excited to see how these guys produce and progress and contribute over the course of the season. My friends, always happy to hear your thoughts down below in the YouTube comments section. Make sure to like and subscribe as always, and we'll catch you guys on the next Fireside Yankees episode.
Perfect.